I wasn't looking for another Souls-like. In fact, I was kinda done with the genre. I played my share of stamina bars, corpse runs, and beautifully miserable worlds. And when No Rest for the Wicked launched into early access in 2024, I mostly registered as, oh, another one of those. Isometric, dark, punishing, you know the deal. And yet, I bought it on a whim last May, and I've put several hundred hours into it since. You may have heard about the game. After all, it created quite some buzz when it was released into early access back in 2024, being featured on popular YouTube channels like Iron Pineapple or even Asmongold. And most recently, another big update for the game was published, bringing in co-op and other features. This, and the offer to play it for free for one weekend on Steam, pushed the numbers of concurrent players big time. If you're not aware of the game, No Rest for the Wicked is an action RPG with Souls-like elements, and I'll get into that in a little while. It features an isometric view and a very highly unique art style. I know I'm not the only one finding this quite beautiful. The studio behind the game is Moon Studios, the creators of the very popular Ori games. The game currently is in early access and not entirely finished, yet it offers several large zones to quest in, endgame content such as roguelike randomized dungeon, and daily and weekly quests. One question I see a lot both on Reddit and the Steam forum of the game is this worth buying the game yet? Is there enough to do? Short answer, yes, it is worth buying it. I bought it on a whim, and I've put in several hundred hours of play, leveling different characters with different builds, and even though I play other games as well, it's always installed, ready to go, and I keep coming back to it. And I do look forward very much to the final release and more content. In my opinion, it's definitely worth the price of purchase, and a full release will be a bit more expensive, which I find a sensible and fair decision. So you can buy in early at a reduced price. Now, there's a long answer too, so let's get into that. When you start the game, you're weak and you have to find your way around. You can attack enemies, dodge, and parry. You'll find loots and chests and corpses. Once you find, buy, or craft the respective tools, you can harvest wood, plants, fish, and ore, which you'll need later. The game has a classic character layout with stats such as strength, stamina, intelligence, or faith. You get 3 stat points every time you level, and the current level cap is 30. There is encumbrance in games, so like in Souls games, the heavier your gear is, the slower you roll and the more stamina you use. However, the so-called fat rolling is not just a disadvantage, as it will allow you to body check enemies, which actually can become part of your combat style. I love that feature. Imagine a battle mage casting spells in heavy armor and then just, shoulder checking someone. At some point, you need to decide what kind of a character you want to build. There are spells in this game such as Rays of Ice, Firebolts, Plague Attacks, Lightning, and these also apply status effects on enemies. Darts, freezing, more damage done to those enemies. These spells usually happen because you plug the respective runes into your weapons, and so you can mix and match based on what you want to do. My approach is to build characters around certain weapons. Here's one example. This is a character wielding the Wind of Death, a wakizashi, an Asian-type sword, which is definitely pronounced differently than I just did, which deals more damage the more health you're missing. So the more you get hit, the harder you hit. I do have some lifesteal applied to the weapon, so I do recover at least a bit of health. That may seem counterintuitive to you, and you may choose to use a different rune to apply other effects, but this works quite well for me. And this weapon is really deadly, as you can see right here, when I fight one of the Pestilence bosses that are part of the endgame. I also have in my backpack a Bleeder's Delight, which is a dagger that motivates you to use a certain attack order. After a charged attack, normal attacks are boosted for a while, so comboing those attacks will be very effective. And here's another example of these kind of weapons. This is my Paladin. Please note that these are titles or builds that I give. There are no classes per se in game yet, but classes are on the roadmap and will be implemented before the full release. I'm looking quite forward to that. This character wields a mace that will give you the Enlightened status. This lowers stamina consumption and damage taken while active. It deals lightning damage, and the runes in the weapon enable you to do hard-hitting lightning-based attacks. The shield and the ring this character uses improve healing, which really fits the paladin theme I came up with. Here, you can see this character in action. Note that the resource you manage while fighting are your health, your stamina for running, dodging and attacking, and focus, which is pretty much your mana used for special attacks and spells. You can regenerate it by attacking or with flasks of food. The most natural way is attacking, so while you can play defensively, the game encourages an aggressive playstyle. One thing that new players sometimes seem to struggle with is healing. There is like the hard way of healing, which is eating food during combat, so you have to find the right window to do that. There are also runes that you can put into your equipment to cast healing spells. And so there are different approaches to doing that. So you have lifesteal, you have food, and you have those spells. It's up to you which one of those you want to use. So note that this footage was recorded a few weeks ago. Ever since, there have been some cool changes to the game. For example, bows have been changed. You don't carry them in your offhand anymore, but you switch to them. You can unlock up to 3 weapon slots for the main hand and 3 offhand slots, so you can switch between different weapons and offhands during combat. Now, bows right now feel almost like an easy mode, especially if you equip a quiver that will add status effects to your bow attacks like lightning or fire. In this footage, I use basic attacks that do lightning damage because of the quiver, while weaving in special attacks that can do fire, frost, or plague damage. This is one of the specific abilities of this bow, but there are more bows in game as well. You can plug different runes into your weapons, as I mentioned, and these are giving you bonuses like lifesteal, more stamina regeneration, special attacks. You can alter stats of your weapons or armor using embers, which is a randomized process with a limited amount of possible outcomes. I don't want to dive into this too much, but believe me, there is a lot to discover and you can come up with all kinds of fun builds. So there's a lot to explore and engage with, and this game is not even finished. So, you journey through this land and you end up in a city of sacrifice. People will interact with you. You have different merchants and you will be sent out to different parts of the country. There are several big maps you can explore and quest in, and there are a lot of shortcuts you can unlock to make traversal easier later. This reminds me really of the amazing map design of Dark Souls. It's very rewarding to explore. In town, you can upgrade shops, buy and decorate one or even several different houses, put crafting stations into them, store equipment in there, so there's a lot to do there as well. I won't go into the story much, but I have to say that the game world hits the perfect balance of beauty, mystery, danger, and even coziness. Once you complete the current amount of the story, you can do endgame content. Zones will be corrupted and plagued, and you have to fight the corruption and kill a boss at the end, which may drop cool loot, which you can use to maximize your weapons, like upgrade them. There is a randomized dungeon you fight through. This is quite roguelike. Die, you start over. But the more you progress, the more random effects you can unlock for the run you're on, sometimes resulting in some amazing synergies and powerful effects. Ever since the most recent update, enemies in there drop loot as well. And the final boss, which can be quite challenging, may drop weapons like the ones I showed you above. But what to do with those? Other than selling or using them, you can give them to your other characters and build them around those weapons or armor pieces. No Rest for the Wicked allows you to run different worlds or realms. There are copies of the game map with individual progress in them. When you start your first character, the first realm is created and you quest in it. Ever since last year, you can also pick different difficulties for each realm. There are 3, from easy to very hard. It is up to you to pick what works for you. I've completed the game on a normal mode, which was the only choice when I started, but I also have some realms on easy just for farming. And I like the fact that you can pick your difficulty. You're up for a Souls-like difficulty? Pick normal or hard. You want a more relaxed experience? Take easy. It's up to you, and as long as you are having fun with the level you pick, that's all that matters, right? So, you can theoretically just start a new character and let it play on your main's realm. The new character will benefit from what you unlocked in your main realm already. Drop a cool weapon for them into a chest in your house, and that character can travel to Sacrifice, grab the weapon, go back to its own realm, or whatever difficulty you choose, and start unlocking stuff there. Or all of your characters play on the same realm. You've cleared all Pestilence on your main realm and want to farm material and loot from other Pestilence zones? Well, just bring your character to another realm you started and repeat there. The process is instant. You pick the character you want to play and the realm he will play on. Go back to the lockout and move him to another realm if you want to, as often as you want. This is a very cool concept in my opinion. You don't have to use it, you don't have to engage with it. But if you want more farming, if you want more realms to play in, you can do that and shape your experience that way. Now, one big question, is this game a true Souls-like, even with the tag on the Steam page? In my opinion, not really. You don't lose stuff on dying. You can adjust the difficulty. There currently are no invasions by other players. Co-op, which I've not tried, is strictly a way to play with your friends, and it seems people use and enjoy this quite a lot. On hard difficulties, yes, the game will be challenging. Even on the easiest difficulty, there are a few bosses that may be really hard. But if you just enjoy the gameplay loop, doing the story, farming material while exploring or doing quests, improving the town, farming for gear, maximizing and upgrading your gear, there is no harm done in playing on easy. If you want a tougher challenge, crank up the difficulty. The system turns the game into something closer to a sandbox ARPG than a rigid Souls experience. It borrows tension from Souls games, sure, but it doesn't trap you inside that philosophy. So, I am aware this is a lot of information I've just given you, which kind of supports my point, right? I didn't even want to go into the story or show you all the mechanics. There's much more. There are ambers which you can use to change your gear. There's different ways of upgrading your gear. You can change stats and everything. I didn't deep dive into these mechanics because doing that would take much, much longer. Whether you want challenge, experimentation, or just a beautifully dangerous world to lose yourself in, this game already delivers more than most finished titles, I have to say. And it's not even finished. There's already so much to do. After my first character finished the story and did some endgame content, I wanted to try a different build. A heavily armored caster, next the paladin, or a dex-based samurai-like characters with that deadly katana. When I heard about the game, I wasn't looking for another Souls-like, which it was implied to be. For example, by featuring an Iron Pineapple series and Souls-like on Steam. I was kinda tired, but I really am glad I bought it on a whim, and I enjoyed the game tremendously. It just captivated me, got its hook in me. And I keep going back to it. I'm very much looking forward to the full release. And if you decide to buy it now at the early access price, you own the full release. If you rather wait until the full game is fully released, you will have to pay the full price. So, pick your poison. But I guarantee you that there is a lot to do even though it's unfinished. The studio interacts with the community, works on new features, and is quite ambitious about what's to come. So, if you're unsure whether this is for you, I hope this video helps you. But going back to the original question I quoted, yes, it's very much worth it. And even if you stick to only one character, this early access game has a lot of content to offer. So give it a try, have fun, and I'll see you in game.